Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, January 3rd, I think. That's what happens when you don't work. You kind of forget the date. But I know it's Tuesday. So anyway, I thought I'd come on here and make my video to go along with everyone else's videos out there of reflecting on 2016 and running into 2017. And I've spent a little bit of time thinking about, what I wanted to say, and I did take notes, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. And I'm also looking down at some very low man down here. Do you want to come here? Oh, this is my biggest challenge right now. My sick little puppy, yes. So anyway, as I was thinking back on 2016, oh my gosh, you wouldn't have your foot on the table. I was thinking of what my word was for 2016. So I started the thought process by looking back on my YouTube videos. And I only started this channel December a year ago. So December 2015 is when I actually started doing this. And I didn't do it regularly at first. So I spent some time looking back at some of my old videos as to the content and what I was talking about and what was happening in my life. And the word that came to mind was change. And I knew going into 2016 from the end of 2015 that this past year was going to be a year of change for us. And when I say us, I'm referring to Mike, my husband, and I. So 3 major things changed for us in 2016. I left my job. Specifically, December 31st of 2015 was my last day of work with American Airlines. So I started 2016, January 1st, jobless for the first time in, I don't know when. The last time it was when I didn't have a job. Probably when my kids were first born. And they're, how old are they?
Oh my God.
My kids are 23 and 24, so that tells you how long it's been since I was unemployed. So, huge change, not having a job, not having someone to report to, not having to live your life by a clock, be it a time clock or an alarm clock. Just total freedom. And it's been a good change, but it's also been a change nonetheless that has been difficult to deal with. And I struggled with several times over the year, this past year, kicking myself for doing that because I missed the people that I worked with. I missed my job. I loved my job with American Airlines as much as you can love an airline job considering all the bad things surrounding the airlines. So that was a huge change, not having a job. We also moved. And the leaving of the job coincided with me developing some health issues that we had just found out about Christmas Eve of 2015. So we were faced with medical crisis. And I'm not going to go into all the details because I don't want this video to be an hour long, but if you want to know all about that, you can just go back to my videos from December 2015, and you can watch those to see, the medical issues that we were dealing with, which that was the final straw for me to leave my job. So we were living in a different city, so we had to very quickly make a decision on whether we were staying in that city or moving back to York, which is where we are currently living, and that's where my husband was working, even though we were living outside the area. So in a short period of time, we packed up everything and moved back to York, left square footage of almost 2,000 to square footage of 974 is what I'm living in here. So that in itself means major change. So we had to move. And then the third major change for us was I gained a son-in-law. My youngest daughter got married in July. And again, you can go back to videos from July of 2016 and see the wedding and the wedding prep and that kind of stuff. And not that that was a negative change. It's always a positive change when your kids are independent and living their lives and moving on and creating their own lives. However, does any parent ever feel like the person that their son or daughter marries is good enough? Or do they, along that same lines, that the family they're marrying into, is that family good enough? And that's something I've struggled with this past year. So enough on 2016. It was a year of change. That change is done. Those changes are done. It's time to welcome 2017. So I sat and was trying to think of, what is going to be my word for 2017. And what I came up with for my word is the word challenge. And challenge is going to apply to, this year is going to be a challenging one for us for a number of reasons, but I also am looking to challenge myself. So the word challenge is twofold for this upcoming year. So a couple of things that I wrote down that I want to challenge myself on is, number one, challenge myself physically. That's probably excuse my dog. That's probably the majority of people's New Year's resolutions is, oh, this is the year that I'm going to be in a bikini by June, and I'm going to hit the gym every day, and I'm not creating unrealistic goals for myself. My challenge physically is to, number one, eat better. And not that we eat bad. If you've watched me for any length of time, you know that I home cook everything. We don't eat food that comes out of a box, like the instant potatoes, the instant macaroni and cheese, things like that. With the exception of every once in a while, I do buy Goya brand yellow rice in a box because I haven't been able to figure out how to make my own yellow rice, and there is a difference in the yellow rice as opposed to others, and we love it. So every once in a while I do buy the Goya brand yellow rice, but for the most part we don't eat instant foods. I cook everything homemade with fresh meat, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits. But so when I say, and we don't eat fast food. In fact, if you watch a video from, I think it was a month or two ago now, maybe a month, I had wrote no more fast food for me in the title because I don't eat fast food. We just don't do it. And I was out and about and I grabbed fast food and I felt like shit. I mean, pardon my language, but there is no other word to describe how I felt after eating one fast food meal. But obviously, looking at me, I'm not in the epitome of shape either. I think my biggest downfall when it comes to eating good is the fact that I eat too much. I also cook for taste, not so much for health, so I don't skimp on the butter. I also don't portion my plate properly in that we'll have a meat, we'll have a starch, we'll have a vegetable, but I need to lighten up on the starches and the meat and go heavier on the vegetables, if not cut out the starches, except for certain ones that I love. Years ago when Atkins was really popular, I did the Atkins diet. It worked. It really did work. I dropped a lot of weight in no time. But then there was so much that was cut out on that diet that after a while, like any diet, you want to go taste those foods that they have been forbidding you to eat, and then it's just, you gain it all back. So when I say eat better, again, it's not so much changing how we eat as it is me changing my portions and what I go heavy on as opposed to what I lighten up on. I'm also a snacker, and that a lot of times is out of boredom, or believe it or not, when I'm up in the evening, Mike goes to bed, and I stay up because of the dog, and I don't want to use him as an excuse, but I don't like to let him go a whole 8 hours without going outside. So I'll stay up. Mike goes to bed at like 8. I'll stay up till like 11. And I'll find myself dozing off while I'm either watching TV or reading or I'm on my iPad. So I'll eat to stay awake. How bad is that? Eating to stay awake? Oh my God, that is just terrible. So I catch myself snacking to stay awake. Or if I sit down and watch a movie, I feel like I have to have a crunchy to eat of some kind. So I am a big snacker. So I need to, if I'm going to snack, I need to change what I'm snacking on. Not go for, like last night, our snack watching the Rose Bowl was a big old piece of rum cake that I had made the other day. I could have snacked on some vegetables or a piece of fruit, but no, I chose the rum cake. So just stuff like that. And I'm not saying I'm going to completely deprive myself, because that doesn't work for anybody. So enough rambling on eating better. That is a challenge for me for this year. I also want to be more active physically. Right now I'm still dealing with a medical issue with my knee. The steroid shot did not work. The steroid orally did not work. Now I'm on a nerve drug. If that doesn't work, then they're gonna have to give me an epidural. So the left knee is not, I'm not able to do things like really fast power walking, excessive walking, no Zumba, no weightlifting and stuff with that left leg as of right now. I'm still under a doctor's care. So until we get that under control, there's not going to be a whole lot physically. But even by being more active, like if I have a free day around the house, I don't need to sit the whole day. I can go walk somewhere. I mean, I can't do a lot of walking, but even walking around the block or like, I don't want to say go to the mall, because I'm not a mall person. I'm not a big shopper, but I can walk the mall without shopping because I am not a big shopper. But so stuff like that, just becoming more active, getting outside more, which based on where we live, not a whole lot we can do outside this time of year. We live in a pretty crappy area for weather. So a lot of the outside stuff is not going to happen for another few months, but it's still on the list for 2017. And something really off the wall that I've decided to challenge myself on physically is when I watch my videos back that I've posted, I noticed something in them about myself that will have an effect on other areas of the body, and that is my posture. Even right now, I could probably be up a little more, but I'm not. I'm kind of slouching a little, but I'm also not like this and like this. And I tend to be not very attentive to how I'm standing and how I'm sitting. So that's one thing that I'm going to challenge myself on this year, is to improve my posture. It may seem like something very small, but I think it has a rippling effect on the rest of your body. You know, stand up straight, put your shoulders back, sit up straight, and you feel better, you breathe easier. There's enough studies out there showing how bad posture affects you negatively and how good posture affects you positively. It's just something little that I want to work on. So that's it for the physical challenges. My next challenge is, as most of you know that have been with me for a little while, Mike and I are on a journey to try to get ourselves to Florida, which is where we want to be living. Both of our children live down there. They want us down there. We want to be down there. We don't like where we live. So we have a goal. And unfortunately, we didn't work hard enough this year at getting resumes out. And I'm going to assume that the timing is just not right. The jobs weren't out there for us to put the resumes out to. Not that I couldn't have looked a lot more and worked a lot harder on it. it just didn't feel like something I should be pushing. So now we are at a crossroads in that I had to make a decision whether I was going to sign another year's lease where we live. Doing the month-to-month lease here adds $300 a month onto our rent. We're not doing that. So I struggled. I've had the papers in the mail for a month, and I struggled, and finally we made the decision on Monday or Sunday, we made the decision that we're just going to have to sign for a year. If the perfect job comes up and we don't want to turn it down, we'll have to break the lease and deal with the consequences, because I'm not dumb. I know that it's impossible, virtually impossible, unless all the planets align and everything is perfect in the world, that we would be able to time moving to take a new job at precisely the end of a lease. It's no different than if somebody has a house to sell and they get a job offer in another state, but yet their house doesn't sell for 6 months. People do it all the time. I just have to accept that it's not going to probably be perfect timing. So I had to let go of that feeling. I just took the new lease paperwork to the leasing office this morning. So we will be signing here for another year. So our current lease is up February 7th. So that'll run through till next February 7th of 2018. But in the meantime, it's still going to be a challenge for us to get everything lined up and actively start looking for employment for my husband in Florida in the areas that we are considering moving to. My next challenge for the year is to get our finances in better shape. That's usually a challenge for everyone as well. Not that we are in super bad shape. We don't have a ton of debt. We rent. Our rent is relatively low. I'm not going to argue the pros and cons of renting versus buying. But as most of you know, if you live in the United States, our real estate market still sucks at the moment. And I will not buy a house somewhere where I don't want to be and then have to struggle to sell it. If you don't live in a house for 5 years, you're going to lose your butt anyway when you try to sell it, and we don't intend on being here, hence we are staying renting for right now. We've always owned our own homes in the past, but when I took a job and we moved, we didn't settle in the other area that we were living in, and thank God we didn't, because of stuff happening and we needed to move back home. So anyway, we don't have a ton of debt. We rent. We just bought a new car in August, and that only cost us $24,700, I think, is what the balance was on that. And of course, I've only made 3 payments on it so far. So yeah, you know how it is when you buy a new car. But it wasn't an expensive car. We got rid of the expensive $40,000 Jeep, got the $24,000 Mazda. Perfectly happy with it. And yes, I do drive it. One of my subscribers is always asking where my Mazda is. It's in the garage. In fact, I'm going to do an organization video in the garage in the next few days, probably. I'll show it to you. It's still down there. But if I'm going somewhere close and I'm only driving for a mile or two, I'll just take the Buick because it's here. It's a third car. We still have it right now. And with the weather being cold, I don't worry about letting that one warm up as much as I do the good car. We kind of, when we have that third vehicle and it's an expensive vehicle, we tend to baby a little bit, keep it in when the weather's yucky, that kind of stuff. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, finances. So we have a couple little credit cards here and there. Like I have a Victoria's Secret credit card that I'll use primarily for Bath and Body Works, because this is not seeing a whole lot of Victoria's Secret products. Yeah. That would be funny. Sorry. Okay, so I'll do my Bath and Body runs and use my coupons, and I'll use my credit card, and I'll get more rewards, blah, blah, blah. But I immediately pay that off the next month, because I'm only spending like $30 at a time. So I'll use it so I can get the rewards, and then I just pay it off. So I don't have debt with that credit card. My husband and I each have a Visa. And we both have, he has almost 2,000 on his, and I have like 1,200 some on mine. So that's our goal. I want that credit card debt paid off. It is over $3,000. Again, not huge when you look at some people's credit card debt, but it's still enough debt that I don't want to carry it. Our largest debt is the debt we have for our children's student loans. My husband and I did foot the bill for both of our children to attend four-year colleges. They both have bachelor's degrees, although Caitlin completed hers in 2 years instead of 4 through a private university instead of a state school. So her student loan debt we have is $120,000. Tia's student loan debt, she went to a state school 4-year program, and her student loan debt is $50,000. So we are $170,000 in student loan debt for our kids. And I know most financial advisors out there would beat us with a wet noodle for doing that. But we wanted our kids to be able to graduate from college with no debt. Their lives are just starting. I wanted them to be able to have a clean slate, to be able to go out there and not have to struggle so bad. And this way they don't have that credit hanging over them already. Mike and I already had some bad debt from years past because we ended up, when the real estate market crashed in 2008, we were completely upside down in our mortgage because of when we bought our home and all the money we were dumping into it to flip it. So we ended up short selling our house and killed our credit. And that's the last house that we had sold, which was 2011 when we finally unloaded that one. So our credit was already ruined. So I said, you know what, we're just going to take on this debt. And we did. Again, maybe not the smartest move financially, but it was a move we made nonetheless, and now we have to pay it back. So that debt in itself was the equivalent of a mortgage payment. So again, another reason why I'm not buying a house right now. At least renting, I know what my monthly expenses are, and they're never going to change. When you own a home, you always have those things that go wrong that you have to repair and replace or upgrade. And unless you have that safety fund, that emergency fund, it could wipe you out. It really could. And I am not interested in doing that right now. Maybe down the road. Yeah, but right now, no. So cleaning up our finances, it's going to be getting out of debt. Obviously, everyone wants to do that. And just controlling what we spend. We've done really good this year with making some changes in what we spend, with cutting back on the restaurants that we eat at, and just, that's kind of all we did. Just cut back on the amount of money we spent eating out. We still traveled quite a bit this past year. We're not going to travel near as much this year. We only took 1 week-long vacation all last year, and that was when we went to Florida in April. But we did a lot of little trips after that, long weekends, whether it was we went to Kentucky, we went to New Jersey, we went to Maryland, we went to Myrtle Beach. I know there was somewhere else that we went to, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. Oh, we flew to Florida for a long weekend to help the kids move. So we are not going to be doing all those little trips. Mike gets 3 weeks paid vacation a year. Unfortunately, he had to use a lot of his last year with the major blizzard that we had, plus my surgery. So hopefully we don't have any reason for him to use his vacation this year other than vacation. So we have 1 trip planned so far, and that is the end of March into the beginning of April to visit the girls in Florida. We will go for a whole week, but all those little trips besides that are not going to happen. So we're going to cut back traveling expenses too. So that should help us. So yeah, getting control of our finances, big challenge. 3 more. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Growing my YouTube channel. This is a difficult one because I'm still not comfortable with telling people that I know, meaning friends and family, that I do have a YouTube channel. I don't know what's holding me back. I really don't. I have no problem putting my life out there to strangers, but I'm scared to death to put my life out there to my friends and family. I don't know if it's a pride issue with me, if I'm just embarrassed that maybe it's a self-confidence issue that I feel they're going to judge me. I don't know. I am at a complete loss as to why I feel this way. So I have a Facebook, and I write in my description boxes on all my videos that you guys can follow me on Facebook, and this is my name. But I will never post on Facebook links to my YouTube channel. So how I'm going to grow the channel is going to be strictly through you guys. It's not going to be me promoting it in other ways because I'm just not ready. And I know, I'm hoping that time comes when I'm ready. So I got to think of other ways to grow my YouTube channel. So I'm going to try not so much vlogging as trying to break it down. Like trying to vlog plus cook a meal. It's like if somebody's looking just for a meal, they may have to watch me ramble on with my life all day long before we finally get to the food prep, and people may not like that. So just trying to break up the videos a little bit is how I plan on maybe changing it a little bit. Not filming any less, but making the videos maybe shorter and more tailored to a specific subject. Okay, you know you've rambled too long when your battery dies. So I need to wrap this up. So 2 more things. Another challenge of mine is to grow spiritually. I am a Christian. I've been a born-again Christian since I was a younger child. I was raised in the church. I met my husband in the church. But Mike and I left the formal church in 96 or 97. No particular reason, just the church we were going to just wasn't working for us anymore. But nonetheless, I've kept my faith through all these years. I pray and I listen when God's trying to tell me something. And when he puts the idea in my mind and plants that seed, I know I need to act on it. But I'm not allowing myself to grow spiritually. Like I listen and I pray, but I'm not growing. I'm just kind of at that point. So I would like to grow more spiritually. I haven't read my Bible in a long time, so I'm going to blow the dust off of that and start maybe spending some time doing that and allowing myself to be more open. And hopefully good and fruitful things will come because of that. And then the last thing I have, and I wrote out this next one in all capital letters, is to stop comparing my life to other people's lives. And I think that's where YouTube is, that's a negative aspect of YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel. Obviously, you're watching me. However, I also follow several other people. And, you know, let me know if you identify with this. You'll watch somebody else's life. Not so much the YouTubers that are doing the how-tos. You go to a how-to YouTuber to learn how to do something. So you don't really have a comparison there. But when you watch the YouTubers that do the vlogs and you see their homes and you see their children and you see what they do for fun, you're not seeing their whole life. You're seeing what they want you to see on camera. But I have a tendency to compare my own life to other people. For example, I'm 47 years old. My husband's turning 50 in a few days. We see where we're at this point in our lives. We're not where we want to be living. We're living in an apartment that's small, but I'm not complaining about that because this functions perfectly for us and I don't believe in extravagance. But anyway, where we're at in this point in our lives. And then I'll watch somebody who has a YouTube channel that is in their 20s and they're living in this massive house, driving luxury vehicles, buying all high-end makeup. I buy drugstore makeup. And I'll have a tendency to compare my life to theirs. Again, I'm only seeing what they want me to see. I may not be seeing how much debt they have to live that life, how miserable they are when the camera turns off. So I'm going to make it a challenge to stop looking at other YouTubers and comparing my life to theirs. Enjoy what they put out there, Michelle. Watch it, enjoy it, maybe get some ideas from it, but then let it go. Just let it go. And I really hope no one compares, that you guys don't compare your life to mine. Because I don't live this awesome, extravagant life. I like my little life. You know, I love my husband dearly. We have a beautiful, beautiful marriage. We really do. We have been through everything you could be through, and we've survived, and we are more in love now than we ever been. And I think that's just number one. But you don't see that on camera, mainly because my husband is so camera shy. He's shy even when the camera is not on. He's just not an extrovert like I am. He is an introvert, and we balance each other out. So you're not gonna see that awesomeness because he's so backwards. I'm trying to get him to get on camera a little more, but it's hard. So I'm happy with my life. I love my little life in my little apartment with my little dog, who is doing well. He's on medication. If you've been following me and you saw the Casper update, his heart disease is just going to be regulated with medicine at this point, and we have him for however long we have him, but he's doing much better. And I'm rambling. So yeah, I need to stop yapping. That is my video. My word for the year is challenge. So hopefully you all have a word for this upcoming year. If you live in the United States, it's going to be a challenge for our country to come together and get behind our new president, who's going to be inaugurated in 17 days, I think. So yeah, I think challenge is a really, really good word, both as a country and as on a personal level. So yeah, I am going to embrace the challenge. So thanks for sitting with me through this 5-hour long video, and I promise the next one won't be that long. Have a great day.